Hey, we're so excited. This is our first Facebook Live. I cannot wait. I am so happy to be here. I know, yay. And we get to have Laurie Gerber, which is really cool, who's going to be doing a workshop with us in October. So I'm glad to have you here. I'm Rabinowitz. I am the founder of Den Meditation, also the host of Den Talks podcast. And we have Laurie. So Laurie, why don't you introduce yourself too?
Thank you, Tal. I'm Laurie Gerber, executive and head coach at Handel Group Life Coaching, and I have been watching Den Meditation probably since you started and checking out your podcast and loving what you're doing, and was always hoping to someday come and do a workshop at your very live location. And so thank you for finally having me. I'm glad we're teaming up. I think we have the same mission, so it should be good.
Absolutely. We're so excited. So October 4th, at 7:15 at La Brea, Laurie's going to be here doing a workshop called Design Your Life. And basically anything that you've ever dreamt of, she can make happen. She's been a life coach for over 15 years. This is what she does. It is all about getting rid of that glass ceiling. You're going to talk about this more, but if you've had these dreams that felt unattainable, she knows how to make them happen for you and how to actually get behind and put action towards it. But you also talk about dreams you may not even know you've even had yet. So you help people also get in touch with that.
Yeah, most people don't even know what their dreams are, haven't thought about their dreams. Nobody ever asked, or nobody ever cared, nobody ever listened to the answer. When I came to coaching, I was just upset that though I had done years of self-help, I was actually just taught at Kripalu this past weekend. But when I was 20, I lived at Kripalu. So I lived at Kripalu when I was 20. And did spiritual lifestyle training and did yoga and meditation and chanting and oming and every kind of spiritual thing I could get my hands on for 15, 20 years, books, therapies, gurus, you name it, courses. But I came to be a, middle-aged person, and I still wasn't happy. I still wasn't a middle-aged person. I had looked good on paper. I had a husband. I had 2 little kids. I had an apartment in Manhattan. I had a business, but I was not actually happy. And I didn't know what to do, but I looked at my friend Lauren Handel-Zander, who started the Handel Group, and she had a very similar look to her life on paper, but she was happy. She was buoyant. She was not seeing any competition between career and family, and she was having sex even though she had little kids. It was very confusing to me. I know. She really blew my stereotypes away. And so I actually hired her, and she taught me how to design my life. And the first thing she asked me was, what are your dreams? And she made me dream in all the areas. I was like, no, I'm just here to work on getting my kids to sleep through the night. I'm just here to work on my marriage. She made me look at all, starting with my body. I hadn't had a dream about my body. I had to remember back to when I was 11 to find a dream about my body.
So what was it? Do you remember what your dream was?
I do. Because the reality I was living was I should get to eat whatever I want, whenever I want it. That was the reality. But when she asked me my dream, I was like, not hate shopping. I couldn't.
The dreaded trying things on. But
then I had a memory of when I was 11, and I was in this sun-filled kitchen at a friend of my mother's house. And I had this image of sun streaming into this white kitchen, and I was making a salad from my own garden and had just done yoga. That was this image that I had pulled from when I had seen something like it when I was 11. And I remember thinking that's what healthy is. That's what it looks like to be healthy. That's what it feels like to be healthy. And meanwhile, I was working, 60, 70 hours a week, fluorescent lights, eating bread and sugar at every meal, didn't believe in exercise. It was just my reality was so different than my image of an ideal of my dream. I had forgotten I ever had that dream, right? I had clearly pushed that dream out of my consciousness because I couldn't be with the dissonance between the dream and the reality.
Are you there? You just cut out for a second.
I am here. Did that make sense? Did that make sense?
No, it made total sense.
Yeah.
And I think, so when you kind of got the dream and the vision, then how did you start actually putting that into action?
Well, strangely, and I found this with my clients as well, as soon as you articulate a dream, something shifts. You probably noticed that. As soon as you write it down, as soon as you articulate it in a way that is meaningful and heartfelt, something seems to get released that starts to get some wheels turning. But the second thing that happens in coaching is you then ask your mind, what does it have to say about? So your heart speaks, this is my dream. I want to feel buoyant in my body, dancing, sensual pleasure, shopping's fun, or madly in love with the love of my life, or, want connection and intimacy with my husband, or whatever it is. I want to love my career, happy to go to work every day. And then all of a sudden your mind starts talking, but. And so we make you purge out that whole thing and talk about everything that your mind puts up for dissent. Okay. And then Lauren, unlike any guru or teacher or facilitator I had ever worked with, literally argued with everything I said. So I was like, I don't like vegetable, I don't like healthy food. And she was like, that's not true. Yes, you do. I was like, no, I really don't. And she's like, have you had carrots in guacamole? And I said, ew, I hate carrots. And she was like, you are such a baby. You don't hate carrots. When's the last time you had a carrot? And this is literally a conversation we had. I'll never forget it because she was so right. Because I had to admit I hadn't tried a carrot since I was 4 years old.
I have this conversation with my husband daily.
Right. And then I tried it. And lo and behold, as long as I wasn't having sugar all day, every day, a carrot was delicious to me. But I had never considered it. I was so sure I didn't like vegetables.
And then how many years ago was it when you started working with her? Now you're working for her group.
Exactly. So this was about 15 or 16 years ago. I hired her. It only took her 6 months to clean up my life. It was like once sugar was gone, then I had to deal with my body and my health. Then I got my kids sleeping through the night. Then I fixed my relationship with my husband, which I was tanking. Then I worked on my family relationships, and then my life stabilized, right? I was sleeping. I was eating healthy. I was exercising. I was understanding how my mind was working. I was in good relationships. And then it was like, okay, what do you want to do with your life? Right? I mean, I was thinking, well, what do I want to do with my life? Now I'm happy. Now I feel like I could do anything. And I started brainstorming. And I remember I said, life coach was one of my brainstorms. And I said, that sounds like a quack. I would never admit that I do that out loud. This was 15 years ago, right? That would be embarrassing to admit. But then in little parentheses, I wrote, but if I could do what you do, Lauren, I'd probably be pretty happy. And then I didn't think I could, right? I was like, maybe I'll be a rabbi or a yoga teacher or I had many ideas. And then about a month after that, the person who was running her life coaching division, because we have an education division, we teach at MIT and Stanford and Yale and NYU. We have a corporate division. We're in big companies and Live Nation and places like that and little companies. And we have a life coaching division. And the person who was running the life coaching division unexpectedly left. And Lauren was like,
amazing.
This is kind of your job. Like, you should just, I was like, yes. Okay. Yes. I didn't know that was a choice, executive at a life coaching company. But once it was presented, it was obvious. I was already doing that same thing in my own business. It just wasn't as inspiring content. I was already running a small business. So.
And what do you feel like for people is the life-changing moment, like something so small that you guys can impart and give, whether it's through this workshop or in general, that all of a sudden people start shifting the way they think about it?
That's what I love about the workshop. And I have found this over and over again, even in a 1 hour or 2 hour workshop, people will change their mind about something that will change something forever. Like as soon as she goes, no, you do like carrots, I realized I'm lying to myself all the time. Like I am pretending like I know what kind of food I like, as though like I'm so mature and smart. Meanwhile, I'm arguing for my lame life instead of arguing for my dream. In that moment, I realized everything was BS that I was feeding myself about why I couldn't have it. And so in that moment, then I started to organize myself towards what I wanted instead of how well organized I was for what I didn't want.
But I would think that'd be really hard for some people to be open to the idea that you could be bullshitting yourself. That's a very uncomfortable thing for a lot of people.
I hope we make it fun and funny enough and communal enough that it, like, I mean, again, I spent the whole weekend this weekend with 45 people looking at their own BS. And by the end, literally we had fun. Like, okay, what's your worst lie? What's the worst thing you lied about? And we're just like, people are raising their hand. Like, well, I want to turn, like, give me the mic. Guess who I slept with? Guess who I cheated on? Guess who, because the truth is human beings really do want to get to the bottom of their bullshit, or else you can't have what you want.
And so in some ways, another like name for this workshop of Design Your Life would also be like, get in touch with your bullshit or stop bullshitting yourself.
Yeah. I mean, our book is called Maybe It's You. And the maybe is a joke, right? It's like,
it's you. It's
it's, of course, right. Well, nobody's exempt. It's not like blame, or lambasting. It's like, oh, let's get curious. Let's make a sport of it. Let's make a sport of figuring out how you fool yourself and end up screwed.
So give people a little tease of what's going to happen in this 2-hour workshop, because it is amazing. Just, Laurie is in New York. So this is a real honor for us to have her here. She's not here all the time. So for people in the Los Angeles area, it's going to be in the La Brea location, but to have her magic here in person is huge and such an opportunity. So can you give a little tease of what like those 2 hours are about?
Sure. Yeah, it's very simple. We have crystallized a robust method that we teach at MIT and Stanford and all those places distilled it down into, I would say, our 3 most important principles that we teach. And we're going to workshop them. Number 1, how to articulate what you want. If you cannot put the thing in the GPS, it is so much harder to get to the destination, right? Can you imagine trying to drive to a new place now and not put the location into the GPS?
Oh, so no, you need a Thomas guide, and that's a whole other thing.
Right. We used to get out of the car and ask at a gas station, like, where's that place? Okay. Most people don't remember that, but we do. Okay.
Middle-aged women.
Middle-aged people, remember. Okay. So number 1, how to articulate the dream. Number 2, how to debunk your dumbass theories. How to debunk the thought in your brain that is the thought that's getting in the way of you believing and pursuing the dream. That's number 2. And then number 3, which we didn't talk about much, but we will at the workshop, is how to get yourself to do the thing you wish you would do. What if it really comes down to there's one thing you should do differently, that if you did that, everything would change? For me, it was quitting sugar. And then it was not interrupting my husband. And then it was, honestly researching my career options. And those very simple action steps changed everything, but I didn't know how to get myself to do it.
Yeah, it's true. We also come up with so many of our own excuses of why we can't do them. And you're right. When you make a list like that, it actually seems super attainable and simple. But having someone like you helps give them the track of like, but this is how you're actually going to do it. Instead of just staring at this list is going to come alive.
Exactly. So everybody will leave the workshop with an articulated vision, very clear on what they have to debunk and get over, and then an action plan.
It's amazing. I cannot wait to have you here. I'm so excited. Thank you. And you guys, so it's October 4th at 7:15 p.m., La Brea location. Go on deadmeditation.com if you want more information. And we are so excited to have you. Is there anything else you want people to know before we say goodbye?
I'm very excited. I don't know if we can put a link in, but we do have something called a current reality quiz, which is a free self-assessment. So if anybody wants to come already ready to talk about what area of life to work on, you could even get ahead and go do the current, or if you're not coming or you're not in the neighborhood or you're somewhere else in the world, you can do the current reality quiz. See what area, see how you're doing according to the Handel method, see how you are in your different areas, and then come ready to work on love or health or family or career or money or whatever your issue is. You can get a head start on self-assessment.
We'll have that link in there, guys. We'll have it on our calendar, on our Mind Body link, and on the workshop page on our website. So we'll make sure we put that in there.
Fun. For sure. Okay, good. But mainly you can come, because I'd love
definitely
to
come.
Yeah.
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you for your time. And thank you, everybody who tuned in to be with us today.
You're welcome. See you soon.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.